Welcome back to Nunchakutricks.com. It's Ken. It's good to see everyone. We just got a few things to cover today. First, do you notice anything a little different? I love these nunchucks. They're awesome. As you can tell, they're extremely bright. So I'll be playing around with the Flowfire nunchucks today, and I want to show you a few tricks. Alright, I don't really have too many philosophies to go over today, except for I just wanted to tell you guys that no matter if I'm releasing a video or not, you should always be practicing. As a spinner, what you want to do is you want to figure out how to kindle that fire inside you, so you want to keep exploring and discovering yourself. Nunchucks is still really new. There's so much like undiscovered moves that there's no time just to wait for me or for someone else to do it. You should be exploring, and when you find something great, post it and share it with the rest of the crew. With that said, I'm kneeling right now. With that said, don't forget, we have a Nunchakutricks discussion page on Facebook, so if you have any questions about any of the videos, chances are you're going to get the fastest response on the discussion boards. If you just go to the Facebook page, if you just go to Facebook, just look up Nunchakutricks, you'll probably see something that says Nunchakutricks discussion. Alright, so here's the new moves for this video. I call this the Infiniwave. Oops. It's a pretty new move, actually. I don't quite know how to transition out of it smoothly enough yet, but I figured I'd share this move and maybe one of you guys can figure out how to transition out. The Infiniwave is awesome. If you're a poi spinner, you probably are already familiar with this. It looks like what poi spinners would call the butterfly, which is where the balls are moving towards each other, opposite direction. Well, with chucks, you don't really have that much room. So you have to be able to create these circles that move towards each other with usually about 3 fingers. You might be able to get away with 4. Not only that, what's going to happen is every time the circles crash into each other, just like, do you remember the moonwave? How if we do the moonwave in order to get them to cross without actually hitting, if we were to stand sideways, I'm going to over dramatize it. One is in front of the other so they don't crash into each other like that. The Infiniwave is the same thing. What we're going to do, you want to practice this in different steps, okay? Step 1 is to just kind of lightly toss your chuck in the air and to grab it with 3 fingers like this. So, toss, grab, 3 fingers. Now they're going to crash into each other because if you catch it very straight on, this motion is moving into this motion and crash, right? So the trick is, every time they're just about to crash, you're going to rotate your hand 180 degrees. As you rotate it 180 degrees, what should happen is these points will also rotate and they'll rotate past each other. Now if you don't get the rotation just right, they're going to crash into each other. But if you throw it up, oh, come on little chuck, if you throw it up and you twist, what should happen is it should twist with you like that. So your first goal, throw it up, catch it with 3 fingers. Step 2 is the moment you catch it, twist it. Twist your hand 180 degrees. So right now my palm is facing out, now my palm is facing towards my chest. Like that. You won't be able to control it very well because it's going to want to keep unwinding, but just kind of work on this right now. Boom, like that. Of course, the next part of it is to lift your hand up in the air. So step 1, throw it up. Step 2, catch it with your fingers. We'll say step 3, catch it and twist. Step 4, lift it up. 1, 2, 3, oop, and throw it. Like that. And then we're going to lift it. Now the moment you lift it, you're going to start feeling it slow down. You'll know like when the height of this Infiniwave that you can bring it. But essentially what's happening is you're catching it, you're twisting it around, and so these are rotating past each other. Now the momentum is going to want to make it pull outward. So you're moving your hand up to catch up with it. Eventually it's going to slow down, and all that's going to happen is you're going to turn your hand 180 degrees right back. Once you get that first rotation, you don't always have to rotate it on the top. It's just easier if you do. This is not an easy move at all. Ow. But I figured I'd start you guys off with kind of a crazy hard move. Alright, I'm going to show a few variants here. Almost everything works off of this grab. There's 2 grabs that I want you to learn with both hands. One will look like this, and then the other grab will look like this. basically it's an underhand grab, same stick, and an overhand grab, same stick. You can use these to create illusions though. For instance, if I have two underhand grips, let me just give you a demonstration of how this looks and then we'll describe how it works. Boom. Boom. Or we can go like this. Boom. This is kind of brand new tech. I haven't been working on it forever, so it's not perfect. It's totally not perfect. But you can kind of see the implications as to what you can do this for. This is more for like if you just want to create some sort of really cool visualistic movements. Essentially though, what you want to practice, say you're watching a movie or whatnot, essentially what you're going to practice is you choose one hand and it becomes very stiff. It does not move at all. So we'll say my right hand is stiff. My left hand is going to grab. We'll say we'll grab this direction. The name of the game is, no matter which way I throw it, let's say I throw it this way, we always have to grab it as soon as it stops in the exact same spot. So no matter which way I throw it, I'm always going to grab it in the exact same spot, like that. And what I mean by the same spot is they should be parallel. They should be facing parallel, like this. So if I go this way, practice this direction, see how I'm grabbing with my overhand grip? And the whole concept is basically, no matter which way you push it, just figure out how you have to catch it to the point where it's standing horizontally, like that. To break it down, of course, there's 4 catches. We have overhand grip with your left hand, which if you really have to break it down, it's going to be clockwise. Overhand grip is clockwise, like this. Underhand grip is going to be counterclockwise. And it's the exact opposite. If my other hand was to stay still, the rotations will be in the exact opposite spots. Boom, boom. The trick to really getting a convincing look is to try to keep these as straight as possible. Oftentimes, but not always, as you do the other hand, you can actually, instead of grabbing it straight across, like this, we're actually doing it is we're catching it when it's about this high and then we're bending it. So as this comes up, my hand's going to grab it right around 12 o'clock and it's going to bend it to 9. This will create a staircase, or what I'd like to call a staircase. When we do overhand, we can do the exact opposite. Once it hits about 6 o'clock, my hand's going to grab it and pull it. Now the trick to this catch with the overhand grip is to be sure to use pressure with your pointer finger and your thumb and give it a little bit of a twist as you catch it. So, boom. So I might catch it and pull it nice and snug. Here, it's coming around, and as I grab it, I pull it nice and snug. If you have a nice and snug looking rope, it looks a lot better. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to show you another really cool thing that you can do is instead of using grips to change it, see, we can climb it up and down now if we do that same technique, I should say. Another thing we can do is imagine that this rope or the chain is stuck and it's solid. And what we'll do is we'll take what's on the bottom and we'll wind it and we'll imagine that we punch into a wall right above it. Crack, 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 crack. And if you can practice it fast enough, you'll now have this really interesting boom, boom, illusionary wall that looks like you're climbing up against. So we can either take it across. We can now do this robotic arm motion, which right now we'll call the crank. Bam, bam. Speaking of which, I'll show you one more nice little visual. If you're in 2 underhand grips like this, another thing you can do is just go ahead and take, imagine that the string is actually a very solid object, and the chucks are ropes that are trying to coil around the solid object. What we're going to do is we're just going to basically bend them in the same direction until it makes like a Z. I call these Z threads. Now all we're going to do is just bend it the opposite way. Here's what it looks like. Once we do a Z thread, we can always pull it in the opposite direction. So here, thread. Basically what we're doing now is we're just kind of getting ideas for different shapes that we can play with the nunchucks. We're no longer spinning it and using circular motions, but we're trying to figure out, well, what other patterns can we make? We can Z-thread it. We can turn it into like a staircase. Bam, bam. We can crank it. Hopefully you can use some of this to help you in your, if you have like a slow part of the nunchucks, for instance, or if there's a part of the performance that you don't necessarily want to go ninja yet, this is a great way that you can just create something that's kind of visually interesting while you build up for the big one. By the big one, I mean like the big drop where you're doing crazy figure 8 wrist rolls and doing all your awesome ninja stuff. Anyways, again, my name's Ken with Nunchakutricks. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions at all, send me a message.